Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. Now, I know you guys are wondering, so why do I call the Sierras the Iron Curtain? Well, that's because, it just seems to be a West Coast wall of liberalism, whether it's California, Washington State, and even Oregon has started to turn. Well, shoot, you can probably even say parts of Nevada, and maybe the southern area of Nevada. But anyway, has literally turned into, how do I want to put this? Well, it's mirroring communism, if you want to say that, with, government leaders like Gavin Mussolini and their tyrannical governments here in the state of California. But anyway, so that, for those of you wondering, that's why I point to I call it the Iron Curtain, the Sierra Mountains. I know some of you probably got it. Most of you probably got it, but I know that there's some folks out there like, I don't get what he's saying. Anyway, how you guys doing? As you see, it's just me again today, but that's all right, man. We're going to have a good time because today is one of our favorite days. That's right. It's Taco Tuesday.
It's raining tacos from out of the sky. Tacos, no need to ask why. Just open your mouth and close your eyes. It's raining tacos. It's raining tacos out in the street. Tacos, all you can eat. Lettuce and shells, cheese and meat. It's raining tacos. Yum, 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 yum. It's like a dream. Yum, 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 yum. Bring your sour cream.
Normally I don't let it go that far, but you know what? I felt like on a day like today, I needed a little extra. It wasn't enough for it to be just like a dream. I needed a little sour cream. So that's what we went for today. Thank you so much for your patience in allowing me to indulge just a little bit more. Okay, before we get into the program, let's go ahead and do what time it is. It's time to give the shout out to our sponsors. Let's see here. We're going to start off with Hitman Industries. You can find them at hitmanindustries.net. If you're looking for rifle or pistol caliber barrels, they are the place to go. If you've recently purchased an AR, maybe in the last couple of years, chances are you already have one of their barrels. So, hey, if you have an older AR, why not rebarrel it? Or if you want to do a brand new build, do that as well. But trust me, the place you want to go to find the barrel that you're looking for is going to be hitmanindustries.net. Also, remember, they have Glock barrels and first responder discounts. So if you're a first responder, check them out. Then we've got the California Republican Assembly, otherwise known as the conscience of the Republican Party. A couple of things that I want to note that they have asked us to make sure that we promote. If you are in Southern California, then you want to make sure that you show up to their upcoming presidential nominating convention. That's right. They have a presidential nominating convention. And I'm trying to get the thing set up to pull the thing up. Anyway, it's going to be happening on November 3rd. It's going to be a Saturday. So Saturday, November 3rd. It's going to be in Costa Mesa, California. It's going to be there at the Hilton in Costa Mesa, California. There we go. Bam. There we go. Okay. So it's going to be held at the once again in Costa Mesa, California. It's going to be there at the Hilton, Orange County, Costa Mesa. And it's going to, by the way, we're going to be talking about holding endorsements for president, U.S. Senate. We're going to be considering bylaw amendments, stuff like that. We're also going to have a special speaker, a gentleman named Trevor Loudon. You're going to definitely want to check him out. You can find him at trevorloudon.com. Now, something else that you want to be wary of, you want to know about. For those of you who enjoy Sebastian Gorka, well, guess what? Sebastian Gorka is actually going to be doing something there. Same location, same place on Friday, November 3rd. It's going to be a formal reception, and it's going to feature Sebastian Gorka. So you're going to want to check that out. That's going to be starting at 6 p.m. on Friday, November 3rd. Once again, there in Costa Mesa. You're definitely going to want to check that out. Folks, these are the conservatives in the Republican Party in California, or as I like to refer to the CRA, the Republican wing of the Republican Party in the state of California. So check them out, cragop.org, cragop.org. If you want to be a part of California's future today, make sure you join CRA. And then we've got Hawg Holsters, HAWG Holsters, helping Americans wear guns. You can find them at hogholsters.com. If you use discount code The Rundown, you get a special discount only for Rundown listeners. So make sure you check them out as well. And then finally, if you're looking for anything tactical, outdoor gear, camping gear, if you're looking for cold weather gear, hot weather gear, if you're looking for backpacks, you're looking for helmets, you're looking for hats, you're looking for sunglasses, boots, you name it, they've got it. They have fast shipping, they have great prices, quality selection, and excellent customer service. Check them out, uscombatgear.com. All right, getting into today's news. This was I added this one here at the last minute because I wanted to make sure, I had heard rumors of this, but I wanted to make sure to confirm it before I went ahead and I want to make sure I found actual reports of it before I actually reported on this and actually told you guys about this. Now, there are people out there who are trying to draw a moral equivalency to, what Israel is now doing in order to defend, in order to basically go after and hold those accountable who basically engaged in barbarism and terrorism there in Israel. And what they've done, what Hamas is doing is they're actually going and they're using their own children, their own families as human shields, because they know that Israel is going to go out of their way to try and not attack civilians, to try and not do harm to civilians. So because of that, what winds up happening is Hamas goes and they do things like, they put their headquarters underneath or on the ground floor of a hospital, right? They put caches of weapons in mosques because they know that, and then by the way, they discourage people from leaving the area. Right now, Israel is going out of their way to try and make sure to tell people, they're sending messages in. They've cut off water, they've cut off electricity in the Gaza Strip in order to get those folks out. Right? And they're sending messages in, sending text messages in, doing whatever they can to encourage people, get out of the major cities, because when we come in there, we're coming in there to kill bad guys. It would be best if there's only bad guys still there. That's what they're trying to do. Now, compare those steps that are being taken in order for them to make sure that they are not doing harm, that they are not injuring or harming anyone, to the sorts of things that Hamas is doing. Now, I've already told you about the rapes. I've already told you about the murders. But this was one that I heard about that it's floored me. It says Hamas kills 40 babies and children, beheading some of them at Israeli kibbutz. And then once again, this is according to a report. There are multiple media sources that are reporting this, right? Multiple media sources. So this is not anything new. It says Hamas terrorists slaughtered at least 40 babies and young children, decapitating some of them at a kibbutz near the Gaza border. Shaken Israeli officers and reporters at the scene said Tuesday. It's hard to even explain exactly just the mass casualties that happened right here. Visibly distraught I-24 News correspondent Nick Zedek said during a broadcast from Kibbutz Kfar Aza near Surat, about a quarter mile from the Gaza Strip. Babies with their heads cut off, and what the soldiers said, gunned down. Families gunned down, completely gunned down in their beds, Zedek said of the sheer horror. This is nothing that anyone would have even imagined. And now once again, you've got people out there. You've got literally people out there who, some of which are At least, I mean, they're acknowledging that this is horrific. But then they're turning around. Some of them, I know, wait, let me clarify. There are some who are just 100% noting that this is horrific. Some on the left and some on the right. And those on the left, I want to acknowledge that not everyone on the left is equivocating. There are some who are clearly pointing this out as the barbarism that it is. And that's all it is. It is terrorism. It is barbarism. It is an atrocity. It is a massacre. And it is beyond, there is no explanation. There is no justification to try and say, and I've literally heard people on the left say, well, this is the result of 56 years of occupation. Wait, understand that the Israelis have been out of the Gaza Strip since 2006. It has been governed by Hamas since 2006. And in fact, Israel has been providing electricity and water free of charge to the Gaza Strip. This is what I understand. If I'm wrong, feel free in the comments to correct me. But from what I understand, that's been the case, right? But I had someone today who said, "Well, this is just a mirror of what the Israelis do." I said, "Where?" I said, "Keep in mind." I said, "Understand this. These are not the things that we're talking about. Some of the atrocities, when you look at the women who have been raped and their bodies been drug around." And they're literally their dead bodies are being drug around women, and they're saying Allahu Akbar. These people are killing and shooting children, and they're showing videos of it. These are not videos that are being produced by the Israelis. These are the videos that Hamas is putting online. They're not just doing this, they're celebrating it. Understand that. They are celebrating this stuff. They are celebrating the atrocities that they are doing. Now, if there is a moral equivalent, show me the videos of the Israeli soldiers that are going around door to door killing entire families. Please show me the videos that they're posting. Please show them to me. Or the rape victims, the ones that they have handcuffed with blood strewing from their private parts because, well, they've been raped multiple times. Show me the dead bodies of the people that they're. I mean, come on, show them to me. I really want to see them of the innocents that they have deliberately targeted and killed. Because keep in mind, 1,500. They're estimating now about 1,500 Hamas combatants terrorists came into Israel and went into cities, went into towns, went into villages, went into a concert where they killed 200 young people, deliberately targeted civilians. Show me the ones where the Israelis have done it. Please. I'm here. I'm ready. I'm online all the time. I'm looking for them. I'm not finding those videos. If you got them, put them out there. But you have people who are making a moral equivalence. Look, let me tell you something. If you're going to say, for example, oh, well, we just, there needs to be a ceasefire. No, I'm sorry. There can be no ceasefire until those who are responsible for what has been done have been brought to justice. That's got to happen. I'm not saying the U.S. has to do it. That's on Israel. But the U.S. can't be getting in Israel's way while they do it. They need to be let them and let them get their justice. They need to be brought to justice. Period. But stop with the moral equivocations, right? Stop with the qualified, the qualified condemnations. It's evil. Period. What they are doing, what they have done, what they have committed to women, children, families, innocents, is evil. To those that they've done to Israel, to the people of Israel, and that which they are perpetrating on their own people by using them as human shields. Don't come in here with your moral equivalencies. Stop it. If you think there's a moral equivalency, then this clearly is not a show for you. You clearly do not represent the values that we represent, that I represent, because there are none. And I stand with Israel as they seek to root out those who are guilty of this kind of justice, of this kind of this kind of atrocity. All right, that brings me to another question. I brought this up a little bit. I brought this up yesterday, and this has to do with you think about it. Israel has one of the most secure borders in the world, right? I mean, we're talking between technology, infrastructure, physical infrastructure, and military personnel and training, as well as human intelligence. I mean, they supposedly, as far as we know, it's some of the best in the world. Yet we here in the United States have people who are coming to the United States and overstaying their visas. At least them, we know who they are. At least we have a good idea who they are. We've done some investigation of them. But we've got millions of people over the last few years, up to 7 million. We know 4 million that we know of, 4.4 something, about 4 million that we know of, who've come across our southern border, and we don't know who they are. We don't know where they're from. We don't know what they're about. We don't know if they mean us harm. That, by the way, doesn't even include the domestic haters. So there's an article right now over at Fox News which raises a very interesting question. And over there they say, Biden administration. Oh no, wait, that's the wrong one. Where was that? Where was the other one? I was just looking at it. Biden administration. Oh, here we go. Today it's Israel. Tomorrow it's us. After Israel attack, GOP warns of terror in U.S. due to Biden's asinine open border policy. Republican officials are slamming President Biden's asinine open border policies that would have allowed military-aged men from all corners of the world, warning of potential terror attacks in the United States and the likelihood of terrorist sleeper cells as they point to recent brutal attacks in Israel that saw terrorists breach the border and murder hundreds of Israeli civilians while taking dozens of hostages, warning today it's Israel, tomorrow it's us. Highlighting Israel's costly failure to secure its border over the weekend, Republicans are speaking out on the increasing threat of terrorism on U.S. soil due to poor border security that has already seen unprecedented amount of people on the terrorist watch list caught attempting to cross the southern border, leading to concerns of untold amounts of others who have managed to successfully infiltrate the country. That's right, because once again, keep in mind, when we talk about there are the people who have come to the border, there are the people who are we refer to as the known gotaways, but then there's the people we don't know about, the people who we don't even know came into the country, right? And there are people, once again, we've caught an unprecedented number of people, hundreds, who are on the terrorist watch list. Having said that, there are still thousands of people. Amongst those millions, there are thousands, if not tens of thousands of people coming from other countries, coming from China, coming from Afghanistan, coming from Iran, coming from all of these countries. And we have that, by the way, wish to do us harm, and we have no idea who they are. Now, I said this yesterday. Think about it. If 1% of them decided that they wanted to attack the United States, well, that's 70,000. Now, that, once again, like I said, that doesn't even include the people who are here in the United States, the domestic folks who hate America and would be willing to engage in attacks on America. I'm not saying that there's a whole bunch of them, but even if it's, anywhere near, let's match them 1 for 1 with those who came across. What you're talking about now, they could be up to what, 140,000? I'm not saying that would be enough to destroy or take over the United States, but I'll tell you what, they could do a lot of damage. They could do a whole lot of damage. So it's time for us to stop to think and wake up. It's time for us to start to secure those southern borders. It's time for us to make sure that we develop an immigration policy that works, one where we can allow people to come into the country who are going to be an asset to this nation, who are bringing with them skills and a desire to work and a desire to prosper, but that we know who they are. We know what their history is. We know what their criminal history is. We know what their medical history is, and that they demonstrate a willingness to become Americans, not not Venezuelans in America or Chinese in America or Mexicans in America or French in America, right? But Americans of Chinese descent, Americans of Mexican descent, Americans of African descent, but Americans first. Americans first. I had someone today. They made the argument to me. They were like in South Sacramento. South Sacramento, we have actually a thriving Chinese community, as well as API community. And he made the comment. He made a comment to me that he was worried because he's like, well, China's taking over America. I'm like, well, no. That's not the case here. I said, because here's the thing about it. Well, first of all, most of the folks you're seeing are multi-generational. They've been here in the United States for years. And as multi-generational, I'll tell you what, they're prospering here in the United States. They recognize and see the value of America, of being in the United States, of actually being able to, of free markets, of free enterprise. And they're thriving by every indication, academically, socially, financially, socioeconomically. They're thriving here in the United States. So no, what I'm worried about is the people who, we don't know, right? If you've come here legally and you've gone through the legal process, I feel comfortable that you're here for the right reasons, or at least I know where you come from and I know what you're about. But if you've come to this country illegally, if you haven't gone through the process, what you've told me is you already don't care about our laws. You care more about yourself than you do about our laws and our ways. And by the way, we are a nation of laws. So if you're going to disregard the very first law that you come up against when you come here, I might have a problem with that. I have a problem with that. Anyway, but folks, we need to know who's coming into our country. We need an immigration process that works. And right now, it ain't working. And I think we know that. How do we know that? Well, because according to a report, the United States, or specifically the Biden administration, has lost track of millions of migrants, immigrants, border crossers. I'm sorry. I should not be calling them migrants. They're border crossers, right? Migrants makes it sound like they're moving from one place to another. If they're an immigrant, that means they're coming in. And I don't want to make it sound like it's just immigrants, because there's legal immigrants and there's illegal immigrants. They don't want to be called illegal, even though they've broke the law to be an immigrant. How about this one? How about we call them border crossers? There you go. They're border crossers. But Biden administration may have lost track of millions of migrants crossing the southern border. It says the Biden administration is potentially failing to track millions of migrants who have illegally crossed the southern border as monthly encounters continue to skyrocket, according to an interim report assembled by GOP House Judiciary Committee staff. According to the 61-page report shared with Fox News Digital and which cites new information obtained by the Judiciary Committee, the number of illegal migrant encounters at the U.S.-Mexico border exceeded 2.2 million in the first 11 months of fiscal year of 2023. The data further shows that the federal government has no confirmed departure for more than 2.4 million migrants encountered since January 2021. Because of the unprecedented border crisis, some immigration and customs enforcement officers have been forced to abandon arrests and removals of aliens, including criminal aliens, to process the illegal aliens who have arrived at the southwest border, the report states. Meanwhile, the Biden administration's own policies and so-called enforcement priorities have contributed to reduced arrests and lowered removals of aliens. And for those of you who are upset at the term aliens, talk to your liberal Supreme Court justices, because that's what they refer to them as well. Because they're not from here, so technically they are from another place. Therefore, they are aliens. That's a legal term. So don't get mad about it. They're not extraterrestrials. They're aliens. Okay? All right. So for those of you who are offended, in the words of Candace Owens, look, it's a tough world. Get a helmet. Anyway, back to the report. But so think about that. Millions of people, we don't know where they are. And we're not deporting them even if they're criminals. Because the border enforcement agents, the agents that are supposed to be protecting our southern border, yeah, they're now just processing people and letting them in. They're not arresting people who aren't supposed to be here. They're just letting them out. They're just processing people and shipping them through, letting them into the United States. Once again, with no real idea who they are, where they're coming from, no background checks. It's not like they're going through background checks or anything like that. They're just, boom, boom, what's your name? Bob Smith. Okay, you're in. Here's your court date. Hope you show up. And that's it. That's how they're doing it. That's all they're doing. And so millions are untracked. We have no idea who they are. We have no idea where they are. I mean, if someone were planning or decided, if someone were taking a look at what happened in Israel, they wouldn't have to blow holes in our southern wall. They just could walk right in. They could walk right in. They could go get a government cell phone, go get them a Biden phone, come to California, get themselves a driver's license, maybe vote, and set up to do whatever it is that they want to do. Set up to do the same sort of atrocities. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. If you think it can't happen, let me ask you this. Do you think if they can get 15, if they can pay and they can fund something like this to happen with 1,500 people down over in Israel, you don't think they can do the same thing here in the United States, even just at our southern border? You don't think that they could do that? You don't think that they could organize that? You don't think the drug cartels, in retaliation for us going after their fentanyl business, you don't think that they could plan something like that? You don't think they looked at something like this and said, this might be a way to try and take control of some of these southern towns? You don't think they've thought about that? You don't think anyway, we need to get control of the southern border. We need to know who's coming into our country. We need to make sure that the people who are being detained or whatever you want to say, that are coming into the southern border, that we know who they are, that aren't supposed to be in this country. We need to make sure that they're out of this country if they're not supposed to be here. Just my 2 cents. All right, next we have ruling on forced reset triggers. Now, this is one, I'll tell you, this is one that anti-gunners are going to lose their minds about because, well, this is another attempt by the Biden administration to redefine a firearm part. I told y'all, when Trump did this, when Trump went after bump stocks and said, we're going to take this firearm part, people don't like it. People don't own it. It's not real popular. So we're going to redefine it to make it a machine gun, and then we're going to ban it. And I said then, if we allow a president that we like to go to violate separation of powers, because machine gun, to be clear, is defined in statute, meaning law passed by the legislative branch, signed into law by the executive branch, the law. The president or an agency, a department of his, cannot redefine it in their opinions in order to call it, they can't redefine it or expand that definition in order to include and ban a firearm part that we don't like. Because if we allow them to, then there's nothing to stop someone in an administration that we don't like to go after a firearm part that we do like and try to ban it. We saw that following Trump's example. We saw Biden try it with braces, and he's being shot down. Now they're trying to do it with forced reset triggers, and she's being shot down. Because here we have a U.S. judge. This is Reuters reporting. It says U.S. judge limits enforcement of forced reset trigger ban. A federal judge in Texas has sharply limited the Biden administration's ability to enforce a ban on forced reset triggers, aftermarket accessories that allow AR-15 type rifles to be fired more rapidly by automatically returning the trigger to its starting position after it's pulled. While the order handed down Sunday by U.S. District Judge Reed O'Connor in Fort Worth does not block the rule altogether, it could have a broad effect because it applies to all members of the National Association of Gun Rights, the group that says it's 4.5 million members across the country. The order also extends to any downstream customers of any commercial gun sellers that belong to NAGR or Texas Gun Rights, the state's largest gun rights group, which sued the administration along with three individuals. By the way, and I don't know why they don't mention the Firearms Policy Coalition in this, but it also includes the Firearms Policy Coalition. Now, keep in mind, this is a temporary injunction, and that's why it doesn't apply to everybody. Because right now it's a temporary injunction, and usually what happens is they don't approve a temporary injunction unless they believe the plaintiffs are likely going to succeed in their suit, right? So this is an injunction that bans the enforcement against the people that are actually part of the lawsuit, which, by the way, means if you're not a member of the Firearms Policy Coalition, please make sure you go over there, firearmspolicy.org, become a member if you want a forced reset trigger. Just saying. But a forced reset trigger is real simple. It doesn't redefine, it doesn't change anything except what it does. See, once again, for those of you who don't understand firearms or not into firearms, automatic weapon is one trigger pull, multiple rounds fire. Semi-automatic is one trigger pull, one round, right? So this doesn't change that. You pull the trigger once, one round fires. Now what it does is it force resets, or it pushes the trigger back into its starting position. So then you can pull the trigger again faster. And that's really all it does. It allows you to pull the trigger again faster so that you can shoot faster. But once again, that doesn't fit their definition. It's not, I hate to say this, but words have meaning. And the words we're talking about in particular have to do with the definition of a machine gun. And force reset triggers do not meet the definition of a machine gun. Period. Point blank. I don't know that I need to explain that, but evidently somebody out there seems to need it. Okay, with that, we're going to go ahead and move along. It's time for our parting shots, brought to you by Hog Holsters. Go to hogholster.com. Get your Hog Holster today. Make sure you use the discount code The Rundown. All caps, no spaces. Check them out. Check them out right now. Okay, our first one today, and we've only got a couple of them today, and this has to do pretty consistent. Kind of goes with what we were talking about today when we talk about our southern border and those who are at our southern border and those who are tasked with protecting our southern border. It says here it's a sign, and people look like they're coming across the southern border. It says no trespassing. Violators will be processed and released. Bus tickets included. Department of Homeland Security. And that's pretty much how it works at our southern border. And then for those of you, who need a reminder, gas prices. Gas prices, I was driving the other day, and gas prices now approaching $6 a gallon. Well, actually, they're over $6 a gallon in some parts of California, not necessarily here in Sacramento, but they're approaching $6 a gallon. Just want to remind you, for those of you at home, those of you playing at home with learning disabilities, just so you don't forget. Now, these are this is 2020. This is a Sunco. I do not believe that this was in California. Regular unleaded, $1.86 a gallon in 2020. Diesel was $2.65. Then we have 2021. Regular unleaded, $3.15 a gallon. $3.49 for diesel. And then 2022, $4.89 a gallon, $6.65 for diesel. Now diesel is actually a little lower. Diesel is more like $5.65 in California, but regular unleaded is up around $5.60, $5.70 a gallon. So just so y'all know, remember that. Just do me a favor. Please remember this when election time comes. I'm praying that you remember this when election time comes. And next, then we have here, it's time for our parting shots. I'm not parting shots. Time to give a shout out to our sponsors, Hitman Industries. Visit them at hitmanindustries.net. The California Republican Assembly. If you want to be a part of California's future today, join CRA. Hog Holsters, go to hogholsters.com. And finally, uscombatgear.com. And with that, we're going to call it a day. We will be back tomorrow on Hump Day. Hopefully Mike will be back with us. In any case, y'all take care. We'll see y'all real soon.